Welcome, builders of the internet. My name is Jessa and I work in construction. As it's leading up to Christmas, I thought I would do something a bit different and more festive. So I spent a day in London and captured some really cool footage of various landmarks and tourist attractions, and thought I'd compare what they'd look like in daylight versus at night time. I'll also be sharing some interesting facts about them, as well as my personal opinions on the decorations. So, if you'd like to see my sources and my timestamps, you can find that in the description below.
It's building on my mind.
Tower Bridge. This is the first landmark I went to see, which is near the Tower of London and stands over the River Thames. It's arguably the most recognised bridge in London and sometimes gets confused with London Bridge itself, which is much less aesthetically pleasing. It's quite an ornate Victorian Gothic style, which started construction in 1886 and took around 8 years to build. It cost £1,184,000, which in today's money would be £140 million. In 2008, the bridge had a £4 million refurbishment, with works including installing the lovely LED lights, which makes it this absolutely charming sight to see, especially in the evening and night skies. Leadenhall Market. This is about an 8-minute walk away from Tower Bridge and one of the oldest markets in London, founded in the 14th century. In 1881, it was demolished completely to make way for this more Victorian-style building, by the same designer as Tower Bridge. There are arched glass roofs, cobbled floors, and the whole site is just enchanting, particularly now that it hasn't got the smells and noise of a Victorian market. I truly think it's one of the best spots for Christmas pictures, with a simple tree, lights and greenery throughout. St Paul's Cathedral. The cathedral as you see it here is probably the fourth to have been placed on this site. It was designed by the famous British architect Sir Christopher Wren, and built between 1675 and 1710 after the previous one was destroyed by the Great Fire of London. The cathedral was built in an English Baroque style, reaching completion on Christmas Day in 1711, costing £1.2 million to build. If that were built today, it would be £170 million. The most noticeable feature is the giant dome, which stands at 111 metres or 365 foot tall. It was actually the tallest point on London's skyline until the late 20th century. At the moment, it's got a relatively tall Christmas tree in front of it from the Millennium Bridge side if you wanted to take festive photos. And I really love this angle as well because you can see the tree in the background. It's got oranges, yellows, greens, really autumnal colours. Covent Garden. The first historical record of this site was back in the 11th century, where it originally just had fields. In 1630, architect Inigo Jones made this site the first public square in the country. Then after the Great Fire of London in 1666, the square was solely dedicated to selling fresh fruit and veg, and Covent Garden became the biggest market in London. In 1980, it reopened as Europe's first specialty shopping centre. You can find many handmade and personalised items to buy there, which is great for Christmas presents. There are also some amazing street performers if you're ever stuck for something to do in London. Trafalgar Square. This site was originally the courtyard which served Whitehall Palace, where monarchs used to live, then officially given the name Trafalgar Square in 1830. It became entirely pedestrianised in 2003 and is linked to the National Gallery, as well as having various statues and fountains. I guess the budget must have been cut this year for the Christmas decorations because I found the tree to be underwhelming to say the least. The leaves were so droopy and the lights didn't even cover the full diameter. But there was a small nativity scene next to it which had appropriately socially distanced figures, so I guess there's that to look forward to. Chinatown. The concept of Chinatown originated in the East End of London in the 1700s. But the Chinatown we know today starts with the Great Fire of London, similar to what seems like many of the landmarks I'm discussing in this video. The owner of this land gave permission for houses to be built, which then became a market hall and a slaughterhouse, and thus Soho was created. By the 1950s, the area had become infamous for its great nightlife and cheap renting, so the Chinese entrepreneurs were making the most of this opportunity because the cuisine was popular after World War II as well. And the area became the epicenter for the Chinese community by the late 1960s. It's not really within the Chinese culture that I know of, to celebrate Christmas. So the colourful lanterns you see are there to promote diversity, and they're there as part of a campaign to help welcome people back into the area after the pandemic. London Eye. The London Eye is the biggest cantilevered observation wheel in the world, launched in 2000 by Marks Barfield Architects, and is currently the UK's most popular paid visitor attraction. It cost around £75 million and took around 7 years to be built, though the public couldn't actually ride on it until 3 months after its formal opening date. Unfortunately, when I went to go take pictures of it at night, part of the wheel's lights seemed to be broken, but anyway, the hot pink colour is representative of its current sponsor, lastminute.com. Previously, from say 2015 to 2019, Coca-Cola was the sponsor, which is why it used to have a red colour and was given the infamous name the Coca-Cola London Eye, though the lastminute.com London Eye doesn't seem to have the same ring to it. Savile Rowe. This street has a lot of 18th and 19th century townhouses, with some additional developments from the 20th century. The road is known for being the hotspot for British bespoke tailoring trade, which all started in the late 1800s, where it was trendy to rent these houses for upper-class people. Throughout the Victorian era, the nature of this location changed from being residential to a thriving centre for tailors. As I was walking down this road, I thought to myself, oh wow, look at all these things I can't afford. But it makes for very visually pleasing photos, with a fabulous Christmas tree outside Ralph Lauren and many of the shops having very intricate decorations. Hamleys. This store has been on the Regent Street site since 1881 and is set over 7 floors, making it the oldest and largest toy shop in the world. I was really fortunate to have been filming just as Hamleys was opening, which I'll show you now. There was a huge countdown through the projecting speaking thingamajig, and then Christmas music was just booming down the street, which got me in such a festive mood. I was surprised at how much energy the elves had that were dancing at the door. Lights. I couldn't go into London in December and not take a look at the Christmas lights on the roads. I get so easily distracted and excitable when I see shiny things. My geography and orienteering skills are terrible, so I got quite lost when I was wandering up and down these roads. But here are some shots, day versus night, of various shopping streets in London, such as Oxford Street, Regent Street, Carnaby Street, Bond Street and New Bond Street. I couldn't really tell which road I was down exactly for each of these, sorry. I think they're all quite close to each other as well, so if you wanted to see them all, they're all within about half an hour of each other. And just a warning, the videos that are about to come do have flashing lights, so if you're sensitive to that kind of thing, feel free to skip it.
Lights you shine, make my world so bright. There's nothing quite like Christmas night. We'll see the world so clearly. This place I love so dearly. Put on a smile, it's nearly time to celebrate, oh really.
Thank you so much for watching. As I said at the beginning, this video is a little bit different to my usual style, but if you'd like to see content related to buildings and psychology, you can check out this playlist here. That's all I have to say about buildings for now. I hope it helped build on your mind.
Thanks for watching this channel, it's building on my mind. check out my other videos. But first hit the bell and comment, like, subscribe.